I'm going to tell you a story about sickness and paranoia. I'm Catrice, and welcome to Talking About Thinking. Roughly 3 months ago, I thought I was dying. My life has largely been predictable. Everything about me has been regimented, unschedulable, knowable, comfortable. And 3 months ago, all of that changed. What should have been a normal cycle somehow turned into the worst cycle I've ever experienced. I mean, excruciating pain, heavy, heavy bleeding. And I was like, oh my God, in all of my 40 plus years, I have never experienced this. This is unusual. That is month one. I'm like, maybe I'm stressed out. Maybe this is just something that will resolve itself. Let's look ahead to month two. Month two was pretty much the same. Excruciating pain located in my lower abdomen, in my pelvis, in the bone. And my bones aren't all that great, and that's something known because I have a history of being broken apart. And so I was like, maybe this is just the trauma of youth catching up to me. But I am not the type of person to let unusual pain rest. One, because my job breeds paranoia into me. So I was like, I'm going to get this checked out. So I reached out to my OB-GYN and I got scheduled. I went in, I told her my symptoms, and she said, let's not freak out. Let's get some tests. And I was like, sure, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to look inside my body and make sure everything is all right. And if it's not all right, I need to jump on it and let's get to fixing it. So I work pretty much every day. And so during the day, I was like, yo, guys, I got to go get this procedure, this imaging performed. And everybody's like, sure, yeah. I actually went down and they were able to get me in pretty much right away. So the technician, the person who takes the images, she's doing her job. And I have a great deal of medical knowledge. So I'm like, when you're doing an ultrasound of, say, the uterus, you should be looking at three things. You're looking at the uterus, you're looking at the ovaries. So she is just over there mapping things out, taking pictures, circling stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I was right to be paranoid. I am literally dying. So immediately after that, she's like, oh, I hope they find out what's wrong with you. So I'm like, there is something wrong with me. I didn't say that to her. I mean, I already knew there was something wrong with me. So I just go ahead while I'm waiting for the imaging and I schedule an appointment with my primary care provider. I get the imaging back. The imaging says you have 3 uterine fibroids. As far as we can see, there's nothing that looks like malignancy. Also, you're anemic and it's probably iron deficiency because you've been bleeding to death. And I'm like, cool. But then I review the labs myself. Usually when you're anemic from blood loss, you have microcytic anemic, which means that your red blood cells are really small. My anemia was macrocytic, which means the blood cells were large. This was alarming to me. There are many things that can cause large blood cells. Vitamin deficiency, B12 deficiency, folate deficiency, also liver dysfunction. So I was like, this does not make me happy. I had been having weird abdominal pains even before this change in my cycle. So I was like, obviously I'm dying of some sort of metastatic cancer that they haven't found yet. So I go to my PCP and I tell her my concerns. And she's like, oh, it can be anything. And like I said, I have some medical knowledge and I have been palpating my own stomach and I'm like, yeah, my stomach is weird. Something's weird in there. So she's asking me questions. Any unintentional weight loss? No. Any nausea, vomiting? No. And then she gets to the physical exam and she's like palpating my abdomen and I can see when she feels what I feel. And she's like, oh. And I'm like, yes, I know. I don't want to tell anyone how to do their job, but I noticed an asymmetry in my abdomen. And so she says, we need to get a CT of the abdomen. Your labs are pretty reassuring. Your answers to these questions are reassuring, but let's look inside there. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. This is what I want. Everything about my interactions, this is what I want. This is what I would want to happen next. So she puts in the order, and with imaging, at least in the medical system I'm in, you have to call and set up your appointment, because they say they'll call you, but if you wait on them to call you, it could be weeks. And so, but after I've gotten the order, I'm sort of dilly-dallying. I mean, I'm still at work. I still have my job to do, and I'm a little bit in the, if something is wrong, what do I want to do? What will be my next steps? I am the main breadwinner for two disabled sisters. They're grown, but they don't make enough money to feed themselves and to pay for rent. So they live with me and I do those things, right? And so I have this whole little ecosystem of people who rely on me. So I'm just like, the days passed, and then my PCP reaches out to me and she's like, hey, you haven't scheduled your CT abdomen, go ahead and do it. And so of course I'm like, there's no reason to procrastinate, and I call the imaging people and they're able to get me in across town at the end of the workday. So I go in early and they're like, hey, good, you're here early, let's get you squeezed in. It's only take a few minutes. And so I had to get contrast for a CT is so funny. It makes you feel like you have to urinate on yourself. And so they're like, do you feel that sensation? And I'm like, yes. So they stick me into the machine. I hold my breath, I breathe out, I hold my breath, I breathe out. It's over. A couple of minutes and I go back home. And then I'm waiting for close to a week to get that information. All the while I'm waiting on that information, I'm like, what will I do if I have to start cancer treatment? And of course my insurance is tied to my job. I'm like, can I work from home? Can I take a couple of days off to recover for chemo? Would I ever be interested in a surgery if they're like, we have to resect something? It's a Sunday at night when the imaging comes back. I do not look at it. I do not need that sort of energy for my weekend. And the next day I'm at work and I'm like, oh my goodness, can I stand to look at this while I'm at work? And I had to really think about it. But at the core of me, I'm a nosy person. I'm a curious person. So I open the CT and it's a message from my primary care provider that comes up first. And she's like, good news, Catrice, everything looks bland, which a lot of times you don't want anything about your person described as bland, but in this case, I'll take it. So I'm reading the CT. It mentions the uterine fibroids, which I had known from my ultrasound that I got with the gynecologist. And it also mentions that I have degenerative spine disease, which was very much a surprise to me because I haven't had any back pain at all. But it says every organ system that could be seen in the abdomen was fine, no signs of malignancy, unremarkable. And I felt relief. Even though I'm the type of person, if the results would have been bad, I had a plan because I was already thinking about what do I need to do, making a will, what am I willing to accept, my quality of life. But I won't lie, I'm so pleased that I got those results back and I can move forward knowing that the root of my problems was probably the uterine fibroids, but I had to be sure because of the asymmetry I felt in my abdomen, which my primary care provider also felt, so I refuse to be paranoid about real physical findings. But the imaging says I'm okay. I thank the Lord. I confessed to my family what I was going through because I didn't tell them because I wanted to wait until I had all the other information and until I needed them involved if I had to go through treatment. But it really, I feel like the experience in some ways will make me closer to some of the people I take care of in my job, knowing how they feel with imaging delays, getting small pieces of information, drips of knowledge as you're worried about potentially your life. But that is the story about how 3 months ago I was absolutely sure I was dying of ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, and some sort of cancer. But by the grace of God, I am not dying. It's just uterine fibroids, which are really common in African American women, and the treatment is anything from And the treatment for uterine fibroids is anywhere from just taking pain medicine when you're on your cycle, to birth control, to lasers, to having them resected, to a hysterectomy. And I'm not going to do any of that. Now that I know what is causing the symptoms, they're not even as painful anymore, and I'll just take some Tylenol as needed. Thank you for watching this video. This is talking about thinking. 3 months ago, I thought I was dying. Goodbye.